Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Black Expat Experience, a live show and podcast highlighting the lived experiences of Black expats around the world. I am Kendall Tyson, your host and licensed therapist, and I'm also a fellow Black expat. And we have another great episode in store for you today with another amazing guest. And I'd like to welcome Ronnie to the show. Hi, Ronnie.
Hi. Hi. Thank you for having me, Kendall.
You are so welcome. I am so grateful that I get to chat with you again. You were on one of our panels for educators earlier in the year and had so much sage wisdom and advice to offer. So I definitely wanted to give you a spotlight to share your experiences in Melbourne for sure. I want to give people a little background about you. Ronnie McKenzie is a New Jersey native, was curious about life, and enjoys meeting people from different cultures. Her passion for travel has taken her to 13 countries, and she lived in China for 3 years, but currently she resides in Australia. Ronnie has overcome a lot of difficulties growing up. Her mother passed away when she was 12, and by the time she was 22, all her family members on her mother's side were deceased. So from an early age, she really understood that life is short and security, is an illusion. Because she experienced some extreme pain and devastation in her life at early age, she decided to face her fears head on and kick them in the neck. I love everything about that. She also has a fear of public speaking. So she became a university professor. I love that she's leaning into the things that feel scary to take that sting out. And so she feared moving to China for a job opportunity, but got on that plane. And Ronnie definitely believes that when you face your fears, you'll find your superpowers. Oh my goodness, I'm going to say that again. When you face your fears, you'll find your superpowers. Oh, that's a really deep statement. Thank you for offering that to us. I'm definitely gonna put that on a Post-it note so that I can look at it whenever I'm getting fearful of something. How are you today, Ronnie?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Wow. I feel amazing.
Yeah. So share with us, what I really like about this format is that it is just a chat among people, right? And the people that I interview, I had conversations with them before, and you and we communicate anyway. So I, take the sting out of it. It can feel really nervous sitting up and talking about yourself, but as I was saying before, your story is going to unlock something for somebody else. That's really why I love the power of storytelling. And it takes a lot of bravery to share, your perspective. And obviously you are a brave person based off, what you shared in your bio. So I would like for you to just give us a little tidbit about when you think about the woman that you are. Who would you say you are? Who would you say Ronnie McKenzie is?
I'm a woman that is super curious about life. I love to travel. I love meeting people from different cultures, eating all types of different foods. I want to live an interesting life. And so that's what I'm doing. There's a lot of things that I've accomplished that I never thought I would, but it's like every time I'm afraid of something, I know I have to do it. Like, for example, I've always been afraid of video and just being on videos. That's been something that I've always been afraid of. So I know that I have to do it.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I live my life.
I really appreciate that. Like a lot of times people will really do whatever they can to not face their fears. But here you say that when you've identified something that you're fearful of, that you lean into that thing, that you face it. And I'm wondering, when you think about how you've been able to grow as a person from adopting that particular type of, way of coping, how do you think you've grown by really facing the things that once frightened you?
Okay, so I'll give an example of, hmm, I guess one of my biggest fears was again moving to China all by myself. I didn't speak the language, didn't know anybody. And everybody was telling me, what are you doing? You're going there? Why? They were
Right.
really scaring me.
Right.
I was so scared that for 3 days, I like couldn't sleep well. I really wasn't eating. For 3 days, I felt like I was in a daze.
Yeah.
So I was super scared. I felt that. But the thing that got me on the plane was having extra money. And if I got there and if I found out, they lied to me about where I was staying or anything crazy happened, I had money to fly back,
Right.
right? So I had that together and got on the plane, and my experience was amazing, surprisingly. I mean, it was a shock to my system, and I learned that I like shocks to my system, right?
Okay.
The whole culture shock thing was like being on a roller coaster, and I
Yeah.
loved it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, long story short, like I learned a little bit of the language. I learned to cook Chinese food. I love Chinese food. I'm like
Okay.
obsessed with it. So, yeah, it's like before I really didn't like cooking. And after my experience, it's like, okay, now I'm cooking Chinese food. I'm like
Right.
looking on YouTube. So, yeah, so I've grown a big way. And then me being in Melbourne, oh, I don't know, we ain't here, it's very
Yeah.
few of us here.
Yeah. You can
So,
share your experience with that because there are Black people here in China, but not a lot of them are Black
mm,
Americans, right? How is it in Australia?
uh, you know what it's like this. I don't want to say the place is bad, it's not,
Mhm.
but for me, okay, this is for me, it's like dating the nice guy. You're dating the nice guy that doesn't make your heart skip a beat.
Yeah. There's
He's
safety.
shiny suited up, you know? He looks good. He's very nice to you. He pulls out your chair. He says everything he should to you, but you can't get deep with him.
Yeah.
You can't feel him,
Yeah.
right? That's how Australia is to me. I can't feel it. I
Yeah.
can't feel this place. This place isn't interesting to me. It doesn't make my heart skip a beat. And for the type of person I am, I need that type of environment because that's the type of environment that'll make me grow, kind of push me. So I
Yeah.
need the type of country environment that pushes me a little bit, forces me to
Yeah.
kind of, do something crazy, experience something that I've never experienced. Life here there's nothing to complain about, really. It's very easy. They have this saying, it's like too easy, like if you order a cup of coffee or whatever, you
Mhm.
order and then it's like too easy. That's life in Australia. It's too easy. And I guess I just don't like easy. I
Yeah.
don't like it when it's so smooth. I feel like I'm about to fall asleep. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like
So,
there's a lack of excitement, adventure.
yes.
It sounds like
Yeah.
there's the connection of wanting to explore like the culture and the people
Mhm.
is maybe not as present in Melbourne.
No, nope.
Yeah.
I mean, and I've tried. I've been out there, and it's just not. It isn't a place that grabs my interest.
Mm,
There's nothing that excites me. I'm
yeah.
just kind of here, and that's all. I mean, other than that, it's the coffee is great. I've turned into a coffee snob. My son loves it here. He's going to university, so the life is easy. They have a great healthcare system. The food is great. The food scene here in Melbourne is crazy. It's good.
Mhm.
So there's nothing to complain about. This is not me complaining. This is just stating how I feel in this place. You know what I mean? And just
Yeah.
how it is for me and what I'm looking for long term.
Yeah. I get the sense
Yeah.
that there has to be a sense of adventure, like some newness, um,
Yeah.
the ability to peel back the layers and find the real, like the
Yeah,
heartbeat of a place, that allows you to
exactly.
feel that connection. And although China is interesting for Black people,
Mhm.
it has a rich cultural history. There's
Mhm.
always something to do. And when we could travel a lot more easily, there were so many
Mhm.
amazing places in the vicinity of like Beijing where I am to explore.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Beijing. That's one place I thought I wanted to go, but
Uh-huh.
mm,
Where
never
were you
got
when you were
there.
in China?
I was in Wuxi. That's
Okay.
close to Shanghai. So I've been to
Okay.
Shanghai, Suzhou, but I was in Wuxi.
Okay. And I'm so glad that you offered, not that other people haven't offered an honest take, right? But I know oftentimes
Mhm.
when we interview people, especially expats, we have these conversations like, oh my God, it's the best thing. We do a lot of highlight. And while part of that is very true, I think it's really important to
Mhm.
be honest that every day isn't always this magnificent experience, and to be very authentic in your experience. Some days are challenging.
Absolutely. Um, it's like if you're not honest with yourself, how are you going to improve your situation? How will you find the solutions to your problems if everything's just fine?
Yeah.
Everything's not fine. I mean, I'm grateful,
Yes.
but I know myself, right? And I know what I want. So I have to go for what I want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I don't want people to misunderstand, what you're saying. I'm glad that you shared that part, that you have a deep sense of gratitude. You
Yeah.
understand that things are, like they said, life is easy, living is easy there.
Right.
And
Mhm.
I even wonder, like, maybe at this time in your life, could there be the idea that the ease of life is something that you kind of needed to jolt you into more adventure as you move forward?
No, because I was here for 2 years, right? Like I went to China in 2015, and that was just for a semester. So I was in Australia for 2 years, and um, and then I went back to China from 2018 up into 2020.
Mm,
So no, I knew after the China experience that I love adventure, and if I'm afraid, that's okay. Um, no, the first time I was here in Australia, I knew that this ain't it, right?
and
Like
you
I,
were
you know what
back.
I'm saying? It's not like after a month, I was just like, oh, I don't know about all of this because I've traveled to 13 countries, so it's like
Yeah,
I kind of know what I what I like. I know
yeah.
what I like, right? And there's a number of countries I've been to where it's like, you know what, I could live here,
Mm,
you know, and this isn't one of them.
yeah,
It's nice. It's nice. It's nice and it's nice. And the people are nice and everything is nice. But I need something to, you know,
you want to be stirred.
keep my heart. Yeah, I need something else.
Yeah,
I need more.
yeah. And I know you're gonna find it. I mean, because you have that spirit. That's obvious. So
Yeah, I have
we'll
to.
definitely be in touch so that you can let me know where else in the world you and your family have landed. I'm excited for you. So share with us, listening to your bio, it's evident that you've experienced some challenges in your formative years, right? And probably some things that most people would really find it difficult to grow from without the appropriate support. I'm wondering, when you thought about making the move, abroad, what were some of the considerations that you had to finally make that decision?
Okay. I just got to a point where, because at first I wanted to move to France, right? So I've
Really?
been to France numerous times, and I felt like my heart was in France. So I was like, okay, I'm ready to go. But I had issues. Okay, number one, as I said, wait a second, cut this part out. As I wait, hold on, cut this part out. But I'm married to an Australian. Should I say that?
You can say whatever you want.
Okay, now I'll cut this part. Okay.
Okay.
It wasn't easy making the decision because my husband wasn't on board. I am a mother and I have an ex-husband. Okay. I'm on my second marriage. So my baby father, my baby daddy or whatever, I had to deal with him because I was moving the whole family. So the first thing I did was kind of find out what I needed to do to work overseas, right? And that's when I looked into teaching English overseas. I was like, what can I do right now? What certification do I need to start working overseas?
Mm.
And then I found the CELTA program. I know there was a number of programs locally and they just didn't look good. So I looked into the CELTA program. I had to go to Washington, D.C. for that. I was in Virginia at the time. So I got my certification for that. I was honest with my husband and told him that we're moving. And I just kept telling him, we're moving. And he was like, he was giving me excuses of why we shouldn't move. And I tell him, we're moving. I'm
Right.
getting this certification. Let's work this out. We're moving. And after a while, yes, he understood that we were moving. I prayed. That's one thing that is huge, right? Like having a spiritual connection and knowing that I can't do everything on my own.
Yeah.
Telling the universe, God, whatever you want to call that higher power, letting that higher power know what you want and to give you strength and power and help you to achieve your goals. And then I say, thank you. You know what I mean? I thank you because it's done. If I want it, I say it, I declare it, and I say it's done. And then I take steps every day to work towards what I want. So that's what I did. I asked the universe how I was going to convince my ex-husband to let my son come with me. And I thanked the universe, and the universe told me. I don't know if I should say this. I don't want to say what the universe told me, but yeah, but I got my answer, and hey, I'm in Australia, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it wasn't easy, but I'm not looking for easy. I just worked on it every day. So I got my certification, and then we moved to Indiana because my husband had like a short-term gig there, and I worked there too for a few months, and then that was it. We were going.
Mm.
So I mean, my reason for moving wasn't to run away from anything; it was running towards life overseas, right? Because I mean, I kept coming back to the States, and after every trip, I would feel more sad. I would feel like, why am I here? So I just got to the point where I knew it was time, and I didn't play with it. I didn't gaslight myself. I said, it's time. This is what's happening.
Yeah, that's a really, deep way of looking at it. And what I recognize is that you really listen to yourself. You're acknowledging like how you're feeling when you're making these moves, and then how you're feeling when you come back stateside. And there's a lot of, I would imagine lots of people don't really want to pay attention to the feelings that arise when they are other places and they come back home. And sometimes we just settle for, well, this feels safe. I know what life is like here. I got a job, I can fend for myself, and I don't want to take that leap and do things that other people might not understand or agree with and have to explain yourself. But I hear that you are very in tune with yourself, and you, like you said, you put it into the world, you put it out, to the universe, prayed about it, and whatever was the answer that you received, all right, so let me put it into motion. And the key thing that you said for me was, I am going to move in the direction of this thing, not
Yeah,
away from something else. Um,
right.
which when like I work with expats a lot, or even just talking to people, you often find folks are running from something. Oh, I needed to get away from this. And as
Mhm,
Black people in America, I get it. Like that completely makes sense.
right.
But
Mhm,
it's a different perspective, a different mind shift when you're so intent on leaving something as opposed to I'm
mhm.
seeking this,
Right.
I'm seeking something
Yeah.
else.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially now, it's okay to run from nonsense, to want to get
Right.
away from that. That's fine. But you have to kind of like sit down with yourself and ask, what do you want?
Yeah.
Like what is your perfect life? What does it look like? Write it down. So you have to know kind of where you're going. You can't just be running and that's it. It's like, what is it that you want? And be real with yourself and don't
Yeah.
put any limitations. What is it that you want? The universe has to know. You have to know. If you don't know, you can't get there.
That's
So
very true. That's very true. A goal
another
without an
thing is,
outcome.
yeah, another thing is, as far as our emotions, I think our emotions are our guide in life. People always ask, well, what's my purpose? Well, it's like, well, what do you want? What are you feeling right now? Right. And if you go into that, you'll find your purpose. If you want to do something very badly, that's your purpose. Go after it. And then your purpose, I think, will change.
Yes,
You
I
don't
do
have just
too.
one purpose. You might have a purpose 3 years back and then you accomplish your goal or whatever. So then you'll find another a goal, another
Right.
purpose.
Things
You have to
things
pay attention
evolve.
to your emotions. That's what I
Yeah.
do anyway. Mm.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's our power.
It's really empowering to know that you can conjure this thing or you can have this desire, and because you put action toward it, your life can completely change. That is a very
Mhm.
empowering thing. And I wonder, do you have to have a certain mindset to honor that, accept that, and work with the power that that gives you?
Absolutely. It's all about mindset. It's all about what you truly feel. Even if you have to lie to yourself, I would say lie to yourself because it's difficult to get that mindset, but it's all about mindset. You have to know and expect it to happen, not think, not wish, not that. It's not a like, you're talking to some genie and then you just sit down and eat a sandwich. You know what I mean? It's
Not
like,
happen.
no, you have to work towards what you
Yeah.
want and expect it. Expect it to happen. That's what I do. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that part. I think that's where, even with myself, sometimes having gone through so many difficulties in certain areas of my life, it feels a bit weird to want to expect the best when there have been so many moments where it seems that when you put in the effort, you have the desire and things fall apart. Um, so that's definitely a shift in perspective, realizing that all of it leads you to
Hmm.
like what you're supposed to accomplish if you are open to the entire process, not just the feel
Yes.
good parts of the
Absolutely.
process, but the entire
That's right.
um
Yeah.
yeah. I have all these thoughts in my head right now, just of things that have occurred, in my life as I've lived abroad, and that I'm like, it's kind of like, I don't know if you are a Marvel fan or anything, but I'm such a nerdy like comic book person. And
Mhm.
in one of the movies, I want to say it was X-Men First Class. It's where Professor X like
Mhm.
has on the hat and he can see all the people, all the mutants, or the I'm sounding so nerdy right now. I know that I am.
Oh,
But that's
good.
that's kind of like how I see all of these instances popping up. They're just like illuminating as we,
Yeah.
have this part of the conversation. So I'm gonna have to go and write about that when we finish talking today, because you really just unlocked some stuff for me that normally doesn't happen for me, but I appreciate it. Um, Let me ask you, you know, living in China, living in Melbourne, having visited 13 countries, I want to get like you, right? I need to get a new passport so I can do that. What do you believe has been a defining moment of your time as an expat living abroad?
Mhm. Um, hmm. Well, I guess I'll start with China, because this is just what I'm thinking of. Okay, so I was at a bus stop, and there was this Chinese lady, and you know how we get stared at or whatever.
A
So
lot.
she was just like kind of staring at me like this, you know, and then she kind of like hid behind like this pole. So I'm looking at her this way, and I'm just like, what? So I see her kind of lean over, looking. So I kind of leaned back, looking at her, and then she like went back, and then I went back. So then she would do it again, and then I just kind of looked at her, like, what are you doing? Then she went back. And then I went forward because I thought that maybe, like, after this was after a minute or whatever, I didn't see it. And then she leaned back over to look at me. I don't know what it is. I don't know if I'm explaining this story correctly, but after that incident, I just busted out laughing. Like I could not stop laughing because I felt like I was in romper room or something, like, you know, like kindergarten, whatever. It was crazy. And so it's like I knew that I was in China and this is what it is. This place is crazy, expect it. This is how it is. I cracked up laughing and I wasn't bothered by any of that anymore. It's like I just brushed all of it off my shoulders at that moment. I was like, all right, I'm here to experience everything. This is the crazy I'm gonna deal with. Let's have fun with it. So that's it.
Yes.
Um, that's one defining moment. I don't know, like what kind of defining moments? Because there's just been so many. Ugh,
Well,
like,
let me ask you, let's just go with the story that you just shared, right? It sounds to me as if it's learning to accept
yeah.
that people are going to be themselves, and how you
Mhm.
respond to situations really determines your experience. So I wonder, how
Yeah.
have you carried that kind of perspective and that understanding with you as you either visited countries or even, relocated to Melbourne?
I'm open to meet people. I just, I'm curious. I want to know who you are and what you're about, and that's kind of how I take it. Um, when I'm in other countries, I always like try to go to meetups, just to kind of meet people. Like for example, when I went to Luxembourg, I was there, what, about a day or two? And then I found a meetup and I just went. This is how you meet people. And it was nice. It was a really nice experience. So, yeah, I just go wherever I am. I go with an open and curious heart. I do my research, but when I get there, I'm open. And I like to declare that I will have a positive experience. Even in Melbourne, it's like I complain about it, but it's not a bad place at all. It's not
Yeah,
difficult. You know what I mean? It's like nothing to complain about, really.
yeah.
But um,
And I don't even get that you're seeking to find something to complain about. I get the
yeah,
sense that you need to feel more connected, that
yeah,
there needs to
mhm,
be a place with more energy for you.
right.
Some places just are just
With
like
my
milk
type of
toast,
energy, that's right. Yeah,
right? Yeah, I don't hear that there's complaining at all, because
yeah,
having ease of life is okay. It can be a little jarring at first, I would imagine, when that might not be what you're used to, but
mhm,
it doesn't mean that you're going looking for complication or problems. I just really, like I said,
right.
I get the sense that you desire like you said, a sense of adventure, right? You're so
Yeah,
purposeful That's what I understand so
Mm.
purposeful in the way that you do things. That there needs to be a little bit more, a lot more excitement that's
Really?
offered.
Yeah. Hmm.
I
Like
love
knock me over a little bit,
that.
like
Listen,
that.
I like what you just said about the whole meetups, right? I struggle with that. Probably I have some social anxiety. And as extroverted as I am, I can go out and do things on my own.
Mhm.
But here in Beijing, it's just been difficult to get out among people, and I really haven't even still identified the root reason of why that is. But I really appreciate. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I don't know. You can finish.
No, I just really appreciate first off that suggestion. Um, and it makes me want to just get out and connect more. I think here it's the age group of people that
Mm.
matters a bit more to me. Like I'm 40 and most people that are my age and some a little bit younger they're either partnered or they have families. And
Mm.
then you have the others who are like late 20s, early 30s, and I've been there, done that. Like we talked about
Right.
earlier,
Yeah.
I've done the whole drunken nights and
Mhm.
hangovers, and I'm trying to keep this youthful glow. So
Okay.
it's
Yeah, I can't even handle it. It's like
girl.
if I go out, it's like I'm out for the next day. It's like my feet hurt. I'm in bed. It's like I really can't do it.
Yeah. And I'm too
Can't
busy.
even
I
do
got too much going on to be incapacitated for for a few
it.
days.
Right.
So
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
How is it having a family where you are?
Oh, well, my son loves this place. Um, he loves it. He Even when we first moved here, it was very easy for him to find friends and to
Hmm.
kind of find his place. With my husband, I don't know, this is another show, but even though he is Australian, he went through culture shock in a way that I don't think a lot of people talk about. Like once you've lived outside of your country for a long period of time and then you return, and it's
Yeah.
almost like you don't even know who you are in this place. So he
Yeah.
was going through a lot of challenges, which made our situation very difficult. Like I didn't know who he was and what was going on. He changed. And so we were going through difficulties, and I didn't even know if we were going to make it. It was like serious.
Hmm.
But now everything is great. He got out of it, but it was very difficult for him. So this was not an easy move at all, even though we moved here because it was basically his suggestion. I always wanted France. Um, it was very difficult because of that. Culture shock is a real thing, and I experienced it through him, just
Wow.
watching, yeah, through watching what he went through.
Yeah.
That's culture shock.
Wow.
Mhm.
How do and you share with whatever you feel comfortable with, as a helpmate to someone, how do you work through, especially as an expat, right? Maybe not a native of that country, although your husband is. What's the
Mhm.
process like of support, when it comes to not only caring for your needs, emotionally and his, and your son is acclimating well, which most children
Right.
do.
Yeah.
What
Mhm.
does that process look like?
It looks like finding other expats that you can connect with and talk to and just have real conversations. That's what got me through. Like I was hanging with this expat group and they were people from everywhere. And we would just hang out and we were all going through like the similar experiences. Yeah, so that's how I got through it. Just expat friends
Yeah.
that were going through the same thing, even though there was a few that were partnered up. They weren't married, but still, it's like they met their partner from overseas.
Yeah.
And then the partner said, "Oh, come to Australia," right? And so they're in Australia and they're going through it too. The
Wow.
same thing that I was going through. It was like their partners had kind of changed, right? So it's like the way that their partners acted overseas changed
Yeah.
once they were both in Australia. So
Wow.
yeah, it wasn't, that we were going through it.
So
Yeah, it
then
was difficult.
finding like the camaraderie through a shared
Yeah,
experience and being able to support one another
yeah.
or each other
And
through the
going out and
yeah.
just, yeah, going out to restaurants, and Melbourne is beautiful, so just kind of exploring the place with them. That's how I got through it. Hmm.
Thank you for sharing that. One of the things that I found is I've been able to formulate some really good bonds here. Um, and
Hmm.
then the curse of being an expat is that people leave. Like they
Yeah.
transition. And
Hmm.
some of the people that I found myself the closest to, um, they've moved
Hmm.
on to other countries with their spouses. And I think that's kind of like in the space that I'm in right now, it's just like reacclimating to, okay, do I want to do this all over again? Yes, there are other people here that
Hmm.
I have a connection to, but it's just different. And it takes a lot of emotional labor to
Hmm.
really open up yourself to people that you really vibe with and connect with. And then for them to
Hmm.
leave. But I always say that real friendships and connections, they transcend country, continent, time zone. You make time for one another.
Right. That, you know what? I think this is such a positive being an expat, because it's it's a great way to find out who your real friends are.
Oh God,
Whether it's stateside, whether it's China, whether it's wherever you go, your real friends are gonna check in on you. Your real friends, you're gonna keep that connection. And that's what I found. So I'm
yeah,
like, I know who my real friends are. I can go out and meet people and whatever. That's fun. That's
yeah,
fine. But even if they move or if I move, if we stay in contact, that's my family. That's
yeah.
how I like build my global family.
Oh, totally. Because I tell them all the time. So whenever the world opens up, especially here in China, please understand that I'm coming
Mm-hmm.
wherever you are. Because
Yeah.
the wanderlust,
That's right.
just the freedom of being a bit of a nomad, and being able to go, I don't think that's
Mhm.
ever going to leave. Like that is definitely going to be
Yeah.
injected into the way that I live my life. And so it's a
Yeah.
gift, I guess you could say, having loved ones and chosen family all over the world.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
a part of it. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah. Because I know, like, whenever I go back home, I'm good for 2 weeks, and I'm just like, okay, I need to go somewhere. I need to hop on a
Exactly.
plane. And my parents don't understand. They be like, just sit down somewhere. I'm just like, I've been sitting for 2 weeks. I'm used to like hopping on a plane and let's go sit on
That's
the beach
right.
or hike a mountain or do something. Oof. Oh no.
Exactly.
It's a lifestyle that I
Exactly.
definitely see existing for quite a while. So I'm curious to where you're gonna land next. Well, I wanna transition into things that you find purpose in. And I know you shared the year. Are you doing university professor in Australia?
No. And that's because, well, I mean, I did when I was first here for 2 years. I did. I'm
Mhm.
not doing that anymore because I'm planning on my next trip on the motherland. So hopefully that'll be, I don't want to put that out there, but this year sometime.
Mhm.
Now I do have a struggle YouTube channel, and I'm not too active on it because I want I want to take people along the journey once I leave and I go to where I'm going. You know what I
Right.
mean? And that's when I'll be kind of uploading every week and just kind of more consistently
Mhm.
to show my experience, because
Mhm.
I'm really excited about that, and that's what I want to show.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm not going to be doing that because what I'm doing now is copywriting.
Okay. Tell us about it.
So, because it's about being able to work and travel, work wherever I am. All I need is the
Oh,
internet connection. So that's what it is. So yeah, I've been going through kind of a transition. Like I'll still be teaching online, but I really want to dive into my copywriting because it's fun. It's like,
Yeah,
marketing through words, and that's fun. So
I enjoy that. So have you ever considered like writing your story? I know that you will do more with the YouTube channel, the vlogging and things of that nature. But from one writer to another, like it's just the power of words that allows you to be able to connect
mhm.
with people. What like if you were to be able to envision your utopia when it comes to professional creative pursuits, what would that look like in like the expat realm?
Oh, hmm. In the expat realm, I would love to just interview people, but not but it'll be kind of different. It's like interviewing people as I'm like in the streets, that type of thing, maybe. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
more
As
spontaneous.
I'm exploring, just kind of finding people and just basically showing people the truth about everything, like not sugarcoating anything.
Yeah,
Good times, bad times, times when if I'm stranded or whatever, just letting people know this is what it is. And going to places that most people don't go to. I'm interested in places that, a lot of people haven't been and showing them from an from a Black woman's perspective,
yeah,
African
which is
American,
very
whatever.
different.
It's different, it's like, cause I see like people from other cultures doing it, but I don't think I see too many of us, like going to
Mhm.
places where it's just no one's been there. Or, it's like you might have to sleep in a tent.
Ooh, child. I stayed in a
That's what
hostel
I'm
a
saying.
few
It's
weeks
like
ago. Woo.
that'll be a comedy channel, really, because I don't even see myself doing that. So
Yeah.
imagine me filming myself on some level like that. That's comedy. I
It is
look back at
comedy
that
gold.
like, yeah, it's like, check me out.
Listen, that'll be
Not
that
the
spark
camera
of
type.
adventure that you say you need. That might be a little too much.
Yeah, I'm like, is it too much? Let me find out.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I would definitely tune in for that. You
Yeah,
know,
I have to have a different angle at, what
yeah,
I do. And there's enough fabulosity and everybody doing it for the gram. It's like, no, show a different side of things. What's
yeah,
different? What's very difficult? What's something that I never thought I would ever do? And then film
yeah.
it.
Yeah, we've definitely encapsulated the luxury side of it, right?
Right.
It's all
We
very
got
nice.
that. We know that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I hear you're wanting to dive more into the lived experiences, the unexplored,
Unexplored.
the novelty.
Not talked about, not known.
Yeah,
Because there's a lot of beauty everywhere. But I want to find those gems that no one else has.
yeah. How do you do that where you currently are? Can you?
Well, and I have video clips because okay, so for example, I've taken this boat ride trip here in Melbourne, and it was Wilson's Promontory
Okay.
cruise, right? So I don't do boats. I don't like boats. I don't like water, but I did it, and I have it filmed. So I did film it. And I just feel great. After the experience, I was the only African American. I was the only ethnic person of any kind there.
Wow. What? In
Hello.
Australia?
Oh yeah, yes, yes. Okay. Now, of course, you have lots of Asians and Indians and other, but I mean, on this boat trip, I was the only person of color or
Yeah,
that was different, that
that made
wasn't
me nervous.
blonde.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I was
No.
the only one.
Wow.
And I experienced that all the time here. So it's like you really have to be comfortable with yourself in order to
Yes.
deal with that day in and day out. But I'm at the point now where it's like I really need diversity. Like I really need a soul family. I need to feel some soul. And that's what's missing. I
Mhm.
need my soul fed a little bit. But was anyone rude to me? Did I have any problems? Absolutely not. I had a great experience.
That's
So
good.
that's what matters. But yeah, it was great. But if that was something that do things like that all the time. I hiked for the first time here.
Oh, wow.
You know, because
Did you
this is a
record that
very
experience?
outdoorsy type of. Hmm?
Did you record
Yes.
that experience, chronicle that? Okay.
Yep. That's why it's like I have footage that I need to just put on my YouTube channel because I've recorded all of it. I just need to put it together.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
it's
But
so
yeah,
exciting.
hiked for the first time. And I love that. So got my hiking boots and did it.
Yeah.
So these are the things that I do here. I do outdoor activities because this is a very outdoorsy type of place. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. There's lots of beautiful scenery. So yeah, it's good to take advantage of the outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I'm curious when it comes to living in such a nature led environment, right? I'm gonna probably shift into
Mhm.
mental health. How do you think that, like where you are currently, being able to get out, I'll have all these firsts when it comes to nature, boat rides, hiking. What do you notice has changed about like your outlook, your psychological wellness?
I think it's necessary because where I am now is kind of is not directly in the city, but it's a little outside of the city. But when people are like hiking or doing like things in nature, everybody's more chilled. There's definitely more present. Everybody's not looking at on their phones like they are in the city. Everybody's just kind of walking around like a drone, just I don't know, just staring at their phones, walking like this. And it's
Right.
scary. Once you get outside of the city, people are more present and they're actually talking to each other, looking at each other in the face, exploring, taking pictures, doing whatever they're doing. So it's just about connecting with other people, yourself. It's necessary.
Yeah.
So Australia definitely has that going.
Yeah. I can imagine
Mhm.
that having lots of sun, lots of outdoor activities, because nature is one
Mhm.
of, you know, being outside is one of Mother Nature's gifts when it comes to helping us to
Yeah.
live healthier lives, having more balanced mental health, just
Mhm.
being more, physically active
Yes.
overall, which has ripple effects in your life. Um,
Mhm.
I wonder, is it a happy place, right, where you are? Well, you said people tend to be happier when they're outdoors and things.
When they're outdoors, yes. I wouldn't say the city. Like if I were to have my camera and just you would see people are not smiling. This is not a happy
Mm.
place. But if you get outside of the city, it's better.
Right, a little bit more disconnection from the rat race, for sure.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
Mhm.
let me ask you, when you think about the concept of mental health, mental wellness, how would you define it to someone that you were speaking with?
Hmm. Mental health. Being honest with yourself, being open, um, killing your representative,
Oh, well,
whoever you're trying to.
listen. Yes,
Yeah, killing whoever it is you're trying to be or portray, like put that to the side and just be yourself and learn about yourself and study yourself. That's mental health because when you know yourself and when you're honest with yourself, you have mental clarity and you'll be fine, Take care of yourself, basically. That's self-care, being honest. And that's what society teaches us not to do.
mm,
We're taught not to do that. We're taught the opposite. We're taught, this is the script that you follow when you're in this type of situation. This is what you say when you're in this situation instead of being honest and real and just expressing yourself however you feel.
yeah,
So,
I
yeah,
like
people that
that.
live out loud, people that are just alive. This is how I feel. I'm not happy. I'm happy. I'm whatever, just be true to you.
Yes, that honesty. I have encountered not too many people, but some people that live very honest and, like you said, out loud lives, and I love it. And sometimes I think it's so frightening for other people to witness the freedom that those individuals
Mhm.
have chosen because of, multiple circumstances that lead you to that decision. Um, but it can be so scary for some people that are so tethered to other people's perceptions, or that don't have a good understanding of who they are
Right.
or acceptance of who they are. Family expectations, who the world tells you that you
Yeah.
need to and have to be.
Mhm.
So I really like what you just shared about really killing the representative and birthing the authenticity of who you actually are. But that does take time
Yeah.
and intention. Um,
Yeah.
After reading your bio, and again, you share whatever you feel comfortable with. Growing up, I
Mhm.
can imagine was challenging, right? It's challenging with a full set of family, right? Um,
Mhm.
how do you think that you were able to grow and to develop into the woman that you are, having survived, some of the early experiences that you had?
One thing that I did even as a kid, I knew there was like a higher power. My grandmother was like, she was really into the church. My mother was super into the church. And I knew there was a higher power, but I didn't believe the church story. And I didn't believe the church story after I was baptized. I don't even want to bring this up, but anyway, after I was
Okay.
baptized, that's when it's like the rose-colored glasses were like taken off,
Okay.
and I saw the realities of just everything. And I knew that I don't know, I knew there was a higher power looking over me. And I would always say that tomorrow was going to be better. Tomorrow was going to be better when I was going through those difficult times.
Hmm.
When my mother passed, that was when I was like, F God, F everything, I'm ready to die or whatever. And that's what I plan on doing until she came to me in a dream.
Mm.
I'm a dreamer or whatever, but she just came to me in a dream. And she was perfect. There was no sadness. I wasn't sad. She wasn't sad. And she even made a joke to me about something. Um, and anyway, so after that dream, I woke up and it was like I knew that my mother was in a better place. I knew that my mother was in a better place than I was. And I don't know, all the sadness was gone. I missed her, but I was okay. And then I just kind of, moved on and continued with my life. Um, yeah, and there's been a lot of death. Um, but I knew because of that dream, there's really something else. Like there's a lot, death is not to be feared. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah.
Not to be feared because it's not like my mother's in the ground. Like after the dream, I knew she's not there. She's not there. You know what I mean? She's with me. She's around and she is in her most beautiful, perfect form. So, we're all here. We're going to grow up. We're going to live. We're going to die. But if you're a good person, then you'll evolve to, whatever else is next.
Yeah. Ooh. I just want to hug you. Right now. I just want to give you a big bear hug. Oh my gosh. Just to just to hear you share, like, your mom in the dream really giving you that comfort to know that you're going to be okay.
Yeah, it wasn't even that, it wasn't like, oh, it's okay or you're gonna be okay. She was just herself joking. It was almost like she wasn't, like she didn't know she was gone or something like that. It was just,
Right.
she was just in my presence. I was in her
Right.
presence. She was comfortable with me, but she was perfect, beautiful, the perfect, you know, she was herself, but perfect. And it
Yeah.
was all love and peace. And there was no sadness. That's the key. There was no sadness, nothing negative. So it was a lesson. I was just like, okay. And I woke up different. I just knew
Wow.
that everything was all right.
Wow. I really appreciate, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I would imagine everyone's experience with, grief, is going to be different,
Mhm.
and helping people to understand that it is a process, and one that I cannot define for anyone, that nobody else can define.
Mhm.
It comes in waves. There will be
Yeah.
moments that you are great and moments when you are not. And just from what I've learned from
Yeah.
you, it's learning to embrace each moment as it comes, and like taking
Mhm.
from it what you can to help you to move toward the type of life and existence and happiness that you're seeking. So if you were to kind of share some insight on how to deal with grief, what
Mhm.
would you like, what would you offer? Because that's something that I don't think our community does well. I think when it comes to
Right.
mental health, the Black community has a lot of area to grow, especially if you're more religious, um, not spiritual, but more
Mhm.
indoctrinated with religion. What would you
Yeah.
offer?
Be honest with yourself about your feelings. Cry if you need to. Understand that how you feel, it'll pass. You'll miss that person forever. But be honest. Don't hide from how you feel. If you're sad, then just take time for yourself and write and do whatever. Writing helps me.
Yeah,
Um, activities like walking and just like kind of talking things out and thinking things out. I've done that since I was a kid. So walking's been my therapy. Just walking, I put one foot in front of the next and I just walk for miles. And that helps me clear my head and get everything kind of situated in my head.
yeah,
I also write and I also in the past I didn't do this, but now I make for damn sure. I don't know if I can curse, but I make
whatever
for
you want.
sure that I stay around people that make me feel like sunlight. If you
Yeah,
don't make me feel like sunlight, I am not gonna be in your world and you are not gonna be in mine. You will not have access to me, and that's just how it is for me now.
yeah,
I have to be around people that really care, you
yeah.
know, because
That's
I'm the
key.
type of person, if I'm around you, if I'm talking to you, if I'm in your presence, I'm here to help you and uplift you. That's what I'm about. And if that person isn't doing the same for me, or if they're not in my space trying to uplift me, then, I don't need to be in their space. There's a good friend of mine that I met in China. He's a private person. I'll call him Mr. B. But he taught me so many life lessons. Oh my goodness, he speaks fluent Chinese. He went to Harvard. He's got his PhD. He's just like he is beyond an amazing person, and he taught me so many lessons. And one of those lessons was because I used to drink,
Hmm.
right? Not a whole lot, but no, okay, I did drink a lot. But then in China I didn't drink at all, too much. But he said, if I'm around people who I feel as though I need a drink, like, oh my goodness, I have to have a drink before I sit down with this person, then that person, I don't need to be in that person's presence. Why am I there? Remove myself. Right. So anyway, for me, that was a powerful lesson because before then, in the States especially, uh, you just want to have people around. Well, I wanted to have people around and, we would drink and whatever, everything's a good time, blah, blah, blah. And I think that was a way that I was running from my feelings. And I just didn't want to be like kind of alone and quiet with myself. So being an expat will force you
Oh my
to
God,
do
yes.
okay. Like
Like
being
you
an
have no
expat,
choice.
you have no choice but to sit down and like chill out and figure yourself out, which is a
Yeah,
gift.
yes, yes. I oh,
So,
I yes, I connect on so many levels to what you just shared. One, having someone wise in your life to graciously impart, knowledge without judgment, which is key.
No.
Um, and then what you just shared is, recognizing maybe unhealthy habits of coping, because we all have
Mhm.
done them. And then when
Yep.
we realize, yeah, this is not helping me to further my life, I notice that I'm
Mhm.
masking uh,
Mhm.
how I feel. I'm noticing that I'm doing things so that I kind of numb myself, you know.
Right.
But what you shared also is when you choose to become an expat, if all of those extra weights are still in your life, which a lot of times they are, you
Mhm.
will be forced with this lifestyle, you will be
Yes.
forced to come face to face with who you are as a person and who you
Mhm.
want to be as a person, because you really have to reacclimate to living life on your terms when you move abroad. Because
Mhm.
you don't come unless you move to a place that already you have family or your husband has a connection, but it's still not yours. It's something that you have to lean into and
Right.
acquire,
It's not
right?
mine. Mhm. Absolutely.
Yeah, I hear that. I mean, having experienced it myself, I hear it from so many people that if you don't love company, like time with yourself, you're gonna struggle as an expat.
Yes.
Because you really gotta understand and just have a really good level of healthy level of self-appreciation, being able to
Mhm.
work through I don't want to call them demons or just shadows in your life that will pop up, especially in China when that weather changes and it gets cold and you don't want to
Yeah.
go nowhere. And it's just like, I mean, you're ashy, your bones hurt, it's just all of these things.
Yeah.
Like, okay, who am I? Do I even like myself? Do I like my company? And your mental health
Right.
can decline very quickly if you're
Mhm.
not tapping into the resources available to you. So let me ask you, when you like in Melbourne, well,
Mhm.
how is the mental health care system there? Like I'm trying to put together some information for expats abroad when it comes to seeking mental health support. So what does that look like?
Okay, so I can tell you well, I had a friend that he had a son that had mental health issues,
Hmm.
right? Like he was violent in the home
Okay.
and he struggled to find like a facility because he kind of needed like a facility to kind of put him in
Hmm.
because it was difficult for him to remain in the house
Okay.
because he was just violent and it was just too much. I would say the US has a much better mental health system. I think they're like building it here. It's
Okay.
not, they talk about mental health, but really the way a lot of people handle it is drinking.
Mm.
I'm just gonna be real. Like that's how
Yeah.
people handle it. They have problems and it's like, go grab some alcohol or whatever. Um yeah, it's not that great.
Which is surprising
Yeah.
to me. I would have imagined that they had like a robust infrastructure. Um, yeah, that's interesting.
I think the reason is even if you have some issues, nobody wants to admit like I'm having
Exactly.
mental health issues. And I think that's like a stigma that nobody wants to really deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of people I've met, and they look so put together, but it's like once you start talking to them for about 15, 20 minutes, especially if there's drinks involved, you find out quickly that they're going through some stuff, like through their
Yeah.
marriage or whatever else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
I
mm,
always wonder, like, how do we begin to, I mean, there's always work to be done. And I think there will always be work to be done when it comes to breaking the stigma that mental illness has on lots of different communities, the Black community, especially, because, we're part of that one.
mhm.
When you think about creating like a chosen family and communities of safety, how has that looked for you in your lifetime?
Um, just finding friends, like well, for me here, finding friends that you can just be open and yourself and you talk about your experience as a Black woman. Um, I have some friends here. One was from the UK, another from Canada, another from New Zealand, another from Zambia. You know, we get together and we kiki and we have cocktails and we just talk and we laugh and whatever. That's important. I think, you know, wherever you go as an expat, you should try to find that type of community where people
Yeah,
you can just be yourself and that's it. Um, yeah, I mean,
I like that. So in that same vein, how would you say vulnerability, being more open to vulnerability, allows you to make those connections?
I think if you're if you put yourself out there the way you are and just honest, then you'll attract people that are kind of supposed to be in your life.
Hmm.
Like if you're putting on a show, then you'll attract the wrong people. You'll attract people that are attracted to that show that you're putting on.
Yeah,
So that's why, again, I think it's important to just be who you are. People have their little opinions. They can have them. That's fine. But be true to you and make sure that um, your opinion about yourself is the opinion that matters. And then you'll attract the right type of friends that get
yeah,
you. You know, that's been my experience.
yeah. I agree with that. Like your community, the people that are meant to be in your life will find their way to you, but you have to first live authentically, and live a life that is akin to, I don't know, how would I say it? That allows the world to see like your values, your morals, the things that really matter to you. Because it's so easy just to be connected to anybody when living abroad,
Yes.
especially if you don't
Mhm.
want to be lonely, if you're not used to being alone. And that to me is,
Right. Yeah, it's well, you know what? Here it's a little difficult because, you know, I don't know, this place is different. I was just lucky to find someone, like you just go online, you go to meetups, or you'll find someone that maybe has a YouTube channel. And that's why I got to get mine started up. But you'll find someone that has a YouTube channel or what have you, and then just meet up with them and
yeah,
see how it goes. You just
yeah,
keep going.
yeah.
Because I
So,
live in a community that's like this is like an Asian community.
mhm.
So since I practice Chinese, it's great to like, you know, find someone to talk to or whatever and continue practicing and learning and eating their food. You know, because I love Chinese food. I love it. Real Chinese food, not
Yeah.
American. That's so much.
There is a difference.
Yeah. But you just gotta look and be open to meet people and be yourself. I don't know what else
Yeah.
there is.
Well, I love asking this question. I was reading this book over the summer, You Are Your Best Thing, edited
Mhm.
by Tarana Burke and Brene Brown. And there's this quote that was in there that just popped out of the page to me, and I want to read it and see what your thoughts are. And so the quote is, as a Black woman, it feels like an act of resistance to have an intentional life, to say that my life is going to be meaningful, to live out the mantra of Black Lives Matter. So I wonder, do you connect with anything when you hear that particular quote?
Okay, read it one more time.
Okay, I'll read it one more time. As a Black woman, it feels like an act of resistance to have an intentional life, to say that my life is going to be meaningful, to live out the mantra of Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with all of it. Um, Black Lives Matter. I don't know about that. Black Lives Matter. I mean, I know what it means, but for me, I just hate labels. Like, I'm just gonna be real honest right now. I
Yeah.
hate labels. I hate, don't tell me what I am, don't tell me whatever, because it's like every time I'm labeled as something, then I have to act like something. If I'm this, then I have to act this way. If I'm this, then I have to act this way. I've met people from other races, and race has never come up in the conversation ever, 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 not ever, not ever. I've been friends with people of different races where race has never come up. You know what I mean? And it's like, you know, and I understand what you're saying as far as me being authentic to myself is like problematic for other people. Screw other people, right? I read the book, What the Art of Not Giving a F, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I have it on my shelf.
Yeah, Yeah, so yes, because everyone is gonna have an opinion, and my purpose on this earth is not to make everybody else, strangers, feel better than myself.
Hmm.
That's not my job. I'm not here to like make everybody else happy and feel empty inside.
Mm. Mm.
So, I don't like labels because it's BS anyway.
I hear
I
you.
get what it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to live out because the thing is, we're all borrowing these bodies.
Borrowed time.
We're not these bodies. So it's like, for example, if you say that you're Irish or whatever, or from Ireland, once you die, are you still Irish? Are you still from Ireland? It's like you're African American or whatever these fake labels that they give us. And then when we die, am I going to be an African American or what? We're spirits having a human experience, and we need to focus more on the internal than external. I mean, we relate as far as being Black, but I don't like to talk about Black with people who are non-Black.
Because they don't get it.
Because they don't, you know what I'm saying? They don't
Yes.
get it.
It
And
is a
it's
very different lived
usually
experience.
negative. Yes, usually negative. But with
And then
us,
we feel
we
like we
get
have to explain, like we gotta teach, we gotta educate. And
right.
I'm not about doing
Nope.
that.
Nope. Go somewhere else. This is not about you, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I feel. But yeah, so I get that quote and I definitely agree. But I'm no longer worried about other people's
I hear you.
issues or opinions about me. I can't, it's just I'm to the point now where I'm like, nope,
Yeah.
don't care. You're a stranger, go away. Like,
I
go
mean,
away.
even sometimes we have to adopt that attitude with the people that have been closest to us. If their opinions and fears
Mm,
are so counter to how
mm.
we've chosen to live our life. That's a
And
hard,
that's what's difficult.
yeah,
That is what's difficult
that's a hard thing.
when your friends turn into your enemy.
Mm, yeah,
And sometimes, yeah, that's happened to me.
same.
You're friends with someone and I think what's the saying? Friends are in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
Time.
So once that season of friendship is over, that person can turn into a test. And I've experienced that firsthand, and I don't even know if I want to share that. I don't know
You
if you
don't
want to
have to.
hear it.
You don't have
This is
to.
crazy. I'll tell you. All right, real quick. I had a friend. This was in the States. This was before I was moving overseas. My God. So we were friends and we would go out to these fancy places. We worked together in some places or whatever. And I come back from like DC and I'm excited. I'm telling her that, I'm excited about my move abroad. And this chick, she invites me to this bar that we've never been to. So, I meet up with her. And it's like a seedy little bar. And after talking for a little bit, she just looks off. And then, don't you know, this chick offered me some coke? Yeah.
Well, that's
Okay.
interesting. I
She was
like
like, oh, I got a little something if you want. You know what I'm saying? And I couldn't believe it. I sat there like, wow, no, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want none of that. And then after about 10 minutes, I said, I gotta go. Okay, talk to you later.
Wow.
Never talk to her again a day again in my life. Never talk to her
Wow.
after that.
Wow.
So this is what I mean by this friend of mine turned into a test. Because what if I was an idiot, right? And actually took up that offer? And here I am, I'm ready, I'm right on the cusp of my expat future. She turned into a test.
You may not have,
So
that may have stopped you from being here.
it would have. That's the
Wow.
whole thing. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, she's a mother. Like, I know her kids. I met her mother. Like, this has never been, like, I don't hang out with people like this. So for her to even sit there and offer me that, I'm like, wow, we're
Wow.
done. You understand? So it's like, it's important to know when to drop people. That's it. Your friends can turn into enemies. And
Mm,
some friendships last a lifetime, but a lot don't.
yeah.
Many don't.
I agree with that. I agree with that. We grow, we evolve, and so do our relationships, or at least they should. Some of them grow with us, and some of them stay where they are.
Yeah, and the thing is, I think the reason why, well, not even that particular situation, but when people try to put you down, I think it's because they want you to stay where they are. Like, she didn't want me to go nowhere. I knew that she had, she was like, "Oh yeah, you really going?" You know what I'm saying? So she didn't want me to go anywhere. But wow, that's an example that's real. That's crazy.
yeah, I
That's
wasn't
crazy.
expecting you to say that.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I gotta tell this one because that's like a three.
I'm thinking she
Yeah,
was just gonna be like, "You sure you want to go?" But
mm-mm.
you know
That was
what?
a real
Yeah,
test.
when I hear you describe that, it really like unlocks something about you knowing what your true purpose is and you being wise enough to see that this is a trap, to see if I am
Yeah,
really going to be committed to this new phase of life that I've given myself.
right. Everything about it, like from where we met to the way she was looking and acting, it was just off. And then when she said that, I was just like, oh man, like
Yeah,
friendship over. See,
yeah, yeah.
I
Gotta
had to think
recognize,
about that. Like, whoa.
recognize the
Now there
temptation
she.
in front of you.
Mm-hmm. It's not even temptation. That's the whole point. It's
Right.
like that wasn't even a temptation. That was like psychotic. Like who do you think you're talking to right now?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like I stopped drinking. So what are you talking about right now?
yes. Right.
At
Come
that time,
on.
I stopped drinking. I'm like, I'm not even drinking. Like, who are you talking to? I've never
Right.
had that a day in my life.
That was
Man,
like that was blatant. And that really makes me think about
mhm,
all like especially when you're about to level up in life or
mhm.
you're making big decisions and then
Yes.
something that just feels so out of the blue starts to
Mhm,
unfold or happens. I really believe like you said, those are tests to see are
mhm.
you really committed to this this journey? Like, are you going to be distracted?
That's
Are
right.
you going to allow other people to disrupt the
Mhm,
plan that you have? And it makes me really think about every time I have made a big decision or I have something big that's going on, something else starts brewing in my life in other
mhm.
places, be it friendships, be it, family
Yeah.
stuff, be it work things.
Mhm,
And several times I've been distracted and given those situations the life and attention that it didn't
mhm.
deserve, which made it more
Right.
difficult to continue to move forward. So I just for you to offer that really, I hope that people hear, even with moving abroad, you might have family that don't agree. You might have
Mhm,
friends that, because they aren't brave enough to make the move or to step out on faith or to just live their life out loud, that they
Mhm.
start to do things differently. But you have to be so committed to your own personal growth, and be able to set healthy boundaries that you recognize
Right.
when something is coming to derail your progress.
That's right. And that was blatant, but it could be like a lot of times it happens subtle with people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Well, we are nearing the end of our amazing interview. I just always I want to end on this question. Well, I have two more questions. When you think about healing from dot dot dot,
Mhm.
what does that look like for you?
Traveling is healing for me.
Yeah. Oh,
When
yes.
I'm out on the road, when I'm traveling, when I'm just exploring life, that's healing. Eating foods that I know are real. Okay. Like I don't know about the supermarkets and what's going on, you know. Healing is eating food from the ground. That's another thing I want to learn how to do is like plant and take care of myself.
Yeah.
So eating real foods, exercise, being very mindful of the people that you allow in your space, um, resting, working towards something that you really want. Um, um, and praying, you know, like through writing and through with your words, like what you say. And I think it's very important to be mindful of what you say about yourself and about other people because I don't think we know or understand how powerful our words are, whether it's writing and especially speaking. So when I'm in a bad mood, I have to kind of check myself and go into gratitude and just start talking about everything that I'm grateful for because I do have so much to be grateful for.
Yeah.
I have a wonderful son, a loving husband, really good friends. Um, I'm not fearful of anything. And when I am, I just attack it.
Yeah.
Yeah, healing is just, and then finding people who really understand and get you.
Yeah. Really
That's
key.
important.
Really key.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would imagine, like, the last thing I'd like to ask is, if you were having a conversation with someone, another, Black woman that is seeking adventure, that is really trying to live life on her own terms and is thinking about, living the expat nomad life, what would you offer? Like, what advice could you give her as far as being true to herself?
Go after what you want. Ignore people telling you or try to put in your ear fear. Stay away from that. Stay away from people that try to scare you from your dreams or
Mm,
from what you want to do or gaslight you and tell you, why do you want that? What's wrong with you? This is the norm. And then telling you how to live that scripted life. Um, Lean into people who are doing the thing you want to do. That's very important. Lean into that community, stay with that community, work every day towards your goals. I'm a list girl, so it's like I need to write a list. Okay, this I
yeah,
need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And that list is what I'm focused on
right.
every day. Um, yeah, you have one life to live here. Do it your way. Live life your way. That's it.
I love it. Like, I don't think there's anything else right to offer. Ronnie, I have thoroughly, I mean, I always like talking to you. I have thoroughly enjoyed, and you were nervous. You had nothing to be nervous about. Listen,
Yes.
I am grateful for your honesty. I am grateful for just like the fighter spirit that you have and how pragmatic you are. I respect it 100%. And so I appreciate you spending this time with me today and just giving us a window into your life. I know that wherever you and your family wind up next is going to be amazing. And I hope it has all of the adventure that you're seeking. Um, thank you. And to everyone that is watching, I want to say thank you again for tuning in to another episode of the Black Expat Experience. I encourage you to keep taking risks, keep impacting your communities, and make sure above and beyond anything else that you continue to prioritize your mental health. We really depend on your support to help spread the message of the importance of prioritizing your overall wellness and letting the world know that Black people live and thrive everywhere in the world. So please like, share, and subscribe. And with that, I am going to say our final goodbye and thank you so much.